Hi there, and welcome to She Spice. Folks, the entire Wendy Williams circumstance is getting more unnerving constantly, and it seems like we're caught in some contorted film plot. You know that large number of alerts from people like 50 Cent and others about what happens when celebs go crazy. Well, it appears as though they were onto something. Word on the road is Wendy's being held hostage by these obscure watchmen who've put her under monetary lockdown, and bits of gossip are whirling that the new narrative where's Wendy Williams that G just dropped is all essential for some groundbreaking strategy to paint Wendy as this unsound wreck who needs somebody to keep an eye on funds. And as per the reports, 50 Cent himself is evidently equipping up to spill some significant tea in general circumstance. So what on earth is truly going down? Very much. How about we make a plunge? So no one's dismissing Wendy's battles throughout the long term, yet what's truly screwing with individuals' heads is the means by which Wells Fargo straight up raws her resources before they even had strong confirmation she was down and out, and afterward, after 2 years, she gets hit with a dementia, finding it resembles their messing around with everybody's heads. After all, Wendy wasn't simply your normal moderator. She had soil on a few big shots, and she wouldn't hesitate to recall when she dropped hints about Diddy's DL way of life way, harking back to the 90s, better believe it, that caused an entire mix and got her restricted from New York set. Tations by Diddy himself. Now rewind to the sublime 90s, when Wendy and Diddy were essentially entwined in the diversion scene. Diddy dispatches Terrible Kid Records in 93, and think about who's shaking the New York radio waves in 94. As a matter of fact, Wendy herself their relationship was more similar to pseudo-nemesis, particularly in 98, when Wendy chose to mix the pot. She did what Wendy excels at: spread a few reports. This time it wasn't about Diddy's Sikh's inclination, proposing he may be gay. Recently, we've heard this talk float around previously, yet Wendy gave it a spotlight, and oh rapture, did it create a ruckus once the news arrived at Diddy's ears. He didn't trifle with it. No, he made some significant things happen and got Wendy booted from her radio gig. However, Wendy wasn't done. She professes to have gotten a preview of a man supposedly pulling Diddy shorts down during an excursion in Cancun. Well, that is the powerful superstar show seed, a Jean bargain, letting the cat out of the e-bag in an interview. So here's the lowdown. The questioner tosses, referencing Kirk Tunnels, spilled some tea about Wendy getting the boot from Hot 97 over a puffy picture. Normally, they need the Jean side of the story and the delicious subtleties of that spectacular depiction. Jean Bay makes a plunge, laying the right foundation in Cancun. Evidently, some buddies figured it would be a decent thought to play with Puff Daddy. He creeps up, gets Puffy's trunks, yanks them down, and presto, a compromising position caught by certain young ladies with cameras. What occurs next? They sent that image directly to Wendy Williams. Now that Wendy sees an open door, she guarantees that the photograph shows Puffy in an underminingly problematic position, alluding to a few gay energies. She takes steps to spill the tea, educating individuals concerning the email. She accepts Puffy's not having it. However, he tosses down the final proposal. Either Hot 97 trenches Wendy before he arrives back in New York, or no music from him or his industry. Buddies, QA station blacklist danger. Quick forward to a little break, previously getting back to NYC. And think about what Wendy Williams is out of a task, terminated and finished. Puffy's impact on the music business's potential blacklist brought about the ideal result. Wendy's radio reign in Philly reaches an unexpected conclusion. He was playing with Puffs. He went behind him, got his trunks, and pulled them down. Certain young ladies that were taking pictures took that image and messaged it back to when he told Hot 97, on the off chance that they didn't dispose of her before he got back in New York, that they wouldn't get any music from anyone. Everyone was going to blacklist their station. We were out in LA for around 3 days before we arrived back in New York. Wendy Williams was on the radio broadcast in Philadelphia. Currently, we should have time traveled to 203. When Wendy momentarily focuses on this wreck, she drops truth bombs, bringing up homophobia in hip jump. Discussing somebody potentially being gay was a greater arrangement in those days, she says. And who was at its focal point was all our young lady Wendy Williams, who, for all intents and purposes, confronted a cutting-edge witch chase. After thinking for even a moment about spill the hip jump tea, there was a radio character. Quite a long time ago, her name was Wendy Williams, and she was basically scorched at the stake for discussing such really significant. Credit to Wendy for keeping it genuine and standing her ground through all the disarray. You must respect her. Proud interpretation of things, love it or disdain it, Wendy won't withdraw or gloss over her perspectives, and that makes her an amazing powerhouse. And that is only a glimpse of something larger, all through her profession. Wendy didn't keep down when it came to spilling the tea on the alleged Hollywood tip-top. And even legislators, I don't for a moment even think that they rest in a similar suite or in a similar lodging. I bet you there's such division that she dozes down the road at one inn and he dozes up the road at one inn that Obama was really playing with the state leader. Well, here's the other picture. So does this mean somebody really hushed Wendy for knowing in excess of now? You've likely heard the shocking news at this point. Only days after her narrative, Wendy Williams broadcast on Lifetime reports that Wendy's been hit with a 1-2 punch aphasia and frontotemporal dementia, which fundamentally implies her capacity to talk and her mind capability are enduring a shot. It resembles her entire world's been flipped around and to exacerbate the situation. Her fight with the liquor habit hasn't precisely been helping her presently. We've all seen Wendy battle with various medical problems throughout the long term. She's been extremely open about her battles. In February 2018, Wendy dropped the stunner she's got Graves' illness causing hyperthyroidism, and think about what this was certainly not a new finding. She's been engaging these circumstances for almost 20 years. The tension behind her eyes some of the time gives them an unmistakable look and Chef E shakes hairpieces in open since her thyroid circumstance has dispersed her regular hair. However, stand by, there's more. Wendy unintentionally broke her shoulder in December 2018. Like, could this lady at any point get a break and walk? 2019, she uncovered she'd been residing in a level-headed house briefly and managing dizziness. And when you felt that was sufficient, sometime thereafter she shared that she got hit with a condition, causing expanding in her lower legs. Every one of these well-being chat lunges constrained Wendy to enjoy a few reprieves from facilitating her show. We're talking 3 weeks in 2018 and an incredible 6 weeks in 2019. And in the event that you thought her own life was on voyage control, reconsider. In April 2019, she dropped the D-bomb separate from hostile contrasts drove her to tap out with Tracker after he fathered a child with a fancy woman, and presently she managing aphasia and frontotemporal dementia. It truly is lamentable now ordinarily FTD accompanies these enormous changes in conduct and character in addition to battles with language, which we should confront. It doesn't precisely line up with Wendy's gig as a moderator. I mean, her entire thing is speaking with flair and mind, so you can envision how extreme this should be for her. Yet here's the thing, aphasia and FTD don't simply spring up out of the blue. It's a sluggish, steady cycle, and we could have begun seeing a portion of those battles in her meetings before Oz. I realize you know many individuals, and by the manner in which you know Dr. Oz, you obviously better believe it now. While aphasia could screw with her capacity to get her words out, it's anything but a thump on her insight. She's still as sharp as a salt higher up. It's simply a question of getting those contemplations from mind to mouth. That is the test. So Wendy's group chose to hold nothing back from sharing the intense news about her condition with the world. It was anything but a simple call, but they felt like it was critical to shine a light on aphasia and frontotemporal dementia for the good of Wendy as well as to bring issues to light for others too. They clarified that while Wendy's confronting a few intense moves, she's actually clutching that brand name funny bone of hers. They said the choice to share this news was troublesome and made after cautious thought, not exclusively to advocate for the comprehension and empathy for Wendy, yet to bring issues to light about aphasia and frontotemporal dementia. Wendy is not yet ready to do numerous things for herself. Above all, she keeps up with her brand name, Funny Bone, and is getting the consideration she expects to ensure she is secured and that her necessities are tended to. She is energetic about the numerous benevolent considerations and great wishes being sent her way. Yet here's where things begin to get off track. Fans are humming with hypotheses because it appears as though Wendy's dementia analysis advantageously springs up just after Wells Fargo drops the bomb that she's debilitated and secures her resources. A few people aren't repurchasing it in January 2022 when the famous Wendy Williams show got yanked behind closed doors and things took a wild turn. Wells Fargo emerges from left field and hammers the brakes on Wendy's records, guarantee she's not fit to deal with her funds and needs a watchman. They even take it to court, portraying Wendy as some sort of weakened maiden in trouble, and they documented a request at the New York High Court, contending that Wendy is a debilitated individual and that her circumstances were very unsettling. However, Wendy's legal counselor Celeste McCall terminated back, denouncing Wendy's previous monetary guide Ori Schiller of misleading Wells Fargo about. Subscribe She Spice for more videos.